You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, your host. Well, we got a special guest for you today. Someone who hasn't been on the show in a number of years. He's been through a number of challenges, but he's back on top. And his name is Dennis Miller. You find him on milleronthemoney.com. And hey, he is the America's Retire Mentor. And Dennis, why aren't you retired already?
Kerry, I'm going to be 83 years old. I think I flunked retirement. And, MarketWatch actually dubbed me a retire mentor, and I found it was something I really enjoyed, trying to help others. And at this point in life, I had a lot of wonderful mentors in my lifetime, and it's time to give back. Help baby boomers how to figure out what the heck is going on so they can survive.
Hey, so basically you're still out there doing what you always did, and we're grateful for that. But hey, this economy isn't like any other economy we've ever seen before, is it?
Not in my lifetime, and I'm not too sure not in the history of the world. It's crazy what's going on. And, you've got an entire generation now, particularly baby boomers, that have gone through their working years, played by the rules, accumulating hopefully enough to retire on. They're scared to death, and I can't blame them.
Yeah. So what are you supposed to do in an insane environment like this, assuming that you'll get the luxury of retiring?
Well, Kerry, that's a real loaded question. I want to take it back to what I think to be where the mistakes were made. So everybody can understand what's going on, okay? It was late 1999 when they repealed the Glass-Steagall Act, and that was allowing the banks and the investment banks, brokerage firms, in effect, to all merge, okay? And, we saw this great consolidation of banking that took place very quickly, where all the banks, the big banks and the brokerage houses merged into one. And Kerry, when you think about it, less than 10 years later, after the Glass-Steagall Act was repealed, we're already bailing out these banks with taxpayer money to the tune of trillions of dollars. And we've done that now over the last 10 to 12 years. So now we've got all this excess money in the system. Inflation is going absolutely wild, okay? And now, I see where Powell just raised rates another quarter of a point. Now the Fed has got to clean out all that excess and think they can thread the needle. Kerry, I don't think they can do it. You're sitting there with inflation going through the roof. All this government spending is going through the roof. And, Bill Bonner, the pundit, said recently, their choices are one or two. You want to take inflation or deflation, because that's how you're going to solve the excess. So pick your poison. While Bonner may be right, if you're an investor, and again, I'm going back to baby boomers, you've got to try to invest with both inflation and deflation guiding your investments, okay? So if ever there was a need for a financial survival network, it's now, okay? But you've got to be trying to invest with both of those concerns in mind.
So what's the answer here?
Well, I wish it was easy. One of them that I know is near and dear to your heart is gold, okay? Something that has stood the test of time that will help you at least preserve your bonding capital over all this inflation until it goes away, okay? Now, when you stop and think about it, even now, if you go out and you buy a 4% CD, and you got $100,000 and inflation is 8%, at the end of the year, you've lost $40,000 in buying power, okay? So that's where you're going to need something like gold and precious metals to offset that loss of buying power to inflation. So the other side of the coin is investors still, particularly the retirees, need income. Okay, you can't live on Social Security. And you've got those people like say, well, I had annuities. Well, every month your annuity and every month your Social Security check is buying less and less and less. And you can sit there and say, hey, we got a cost of living increase in our Social Security. Yeah, but my Medicare premiums went up 3 times as much. So they're all of the fixed income from retirement plans, Social Security, it isn't keeping up with inflation. So the investing is going to have to be providing some sort of income. And while we're worried about the market going down, there are still some situations where you've got some good dividend-paying stocks where they're giving you inflation-beating returns, and at the same time offer you some upside potential as the market or when the market starts to rebound. So you want something to protect in inflation, but something that still gives you some sort of yield. Now, let's talk a little bit about gold in that. While I talked about gold from the inflation side, I think there's also another side of the coin, and that is there are certain gold stocks that are giving you inflation protection to a point through some sort of dividend, but will also rise in price as the gold price goes up and their profits increase. Now, I'm not talking about junior miners or exploration companies. I'm talking about those firms that are harvesting the gold regularly and sharing some of that profits with the reader. So, Kerry, I don't know. Those are 3 areas that I think have some at least potential for prudent investors to try to balance things depending on their age and how much money they have, so that they can survive. Because we had 40 years of upside. There's already a whole generation that doesn't know anything but up. And I think it's reasonable to expect a decade where we're going to be struggling. And you're going to have to be burning the can with both ends. So that retirement, as you said earlier, becomes a real possibility, and that you can enjoy it rather than eating noodles every night for dinner or something.
Yeah, I heard that things are so bad that Walmart's not even hiring greeters anymore.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Torque Resources is an exploration company establishing a portfolio of premier copper gold early stage projects in Chile. Torque's management and technical teams have a strong track record of raising capital, discovery, and monetization of exploration successes. The company's Margarita Copper Gold project is located within the prolific coastal Cordillera Belt in Chile, which hosts some of the world's largest and most profitable copper mines. The Margarita project possesses excellent discovery potential for a major copper discovery due to the strength of the alteration system, large-scale magnetic targets, and the presence of copper oxide mineralization. Drilling is anticipated to begin in Q3 of this year. Torque trades in Canada under TORQ and on the OTC under TRBMF. To learn more, go to torqueresources.com. That's torqueresources.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Oh my goodness, that's interesting. You say that, but I have friends right now, and I'm soon to be 83, that had gone back into the job market at 80 years old. That's sad. That is really sad. Yeah, it's breaking. And you don't know how much worse it's going to get. And the fact is, you can point to maybe they think the same or live within their means or invest wisely or whatever. But had the Fed not broken back in 2008 when they started bailing out the banks, or the government not done what they did when they repealed Glass-Steagall, those people would have made it. Kerry, I'm of the generation that I sat down with a financial planner many times when I was still working. And we sat there and ran the projections, and it said, hey, if you do this and you do this, you'll retire and with X amount of money and you're good to go, because you can always count on a 6% return and, inflation won't be more than 2%, so you're good to go. Well, guess what? When we got there, those rules changed, and we were doing what we were told, but a lot of people found out that wasn't enough. So what do? You have to be investing wisely, living within your means, downsize maybe, but it's financial survival.
Well, there's always Uber and Lyft, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of my friends actually is going into doing that. He became an Uber driver. That's exactly right.
All right. Well, that's disheartening to say the least. All right. So basically, we could do those things. Also, invest in yourself and keep building your skill level, your human capital, because that's one investment that always pays off, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. And that's something that Warren Buffett said, that, what you invest in yourself, that's what's going to keep you in the game. And no government can take that away. Okay. And, you asked me earlier, why am I continuing to write? I read a free weekly article. Well, I think researching those articles and doing that is what's helped keep my head in the game. And I'm certainly a better investor today as a result of what I'm doing, because I love it. So later I love.
Couldn't agree with you more. Same here. I do see myself maybe not doing 20 podcasts a week, maybe only doing 7 or 8, but I'll never give up what I'm doing here and the show and all that. Hey, so, Will Rogers said, invest in inflation. It's the only thing going up, right?
Yeah. And that is true. That is true. But unfortunately, the theory is invest in gold because it'll guarantee inflation. But Warren Buffett also said gold doesn't pay interest. Gold doesn't pay dividends. And so you got to burn that candle in both ends. It's just unfortunate, but true.
What about real estate here?
I am a real estate advocate if you know what the heck you're doing. Okay.
That hard, though, because I had a fund on the other day for accredited investors. They build storage units, and they either buy undervalued ones that they can expand, or they build them from scratch. And while their cost of funds have definitely gone up and it's slowed things down, they're still getting 18 to 22% IRRs.
That's amazing. Truthfully, Terry, if I had, knowing what I know now, what I would have done probably 30 years ago is invested in, and I'm going to call it passive real estate, but not necessarily funds, which is certainly one viable option. But there's a lot of hotels that are actually condos, where you go basically buy a condo, which is a gussied up hotel room. They rent it out, and if the same time you get a revenue split. Well, you own 10 or 12 of those, that's going to be some pretty solid income, particularly the way hotel rates are going. My wife had an interest in a family farm. I've been in the family for 100 years, and it was down in, southern Illinois. Well, down there in that part of the world, they have tenant farmers. So you own the land, and the farmer farms it, and you get 50% of the take. Okay? So there are options like that. So my point is, if you're investing in real estate, I'm not one to say, let's go in and start flipping houses. The realtor probably makes more money on that than the person who's doing the flip and taking the risk. But there is certainly investments in real estate where you can get good, solid returns that will go up via the inflation. You just need to understand what you're doing.
Well, I thought that the king had freed the serfs from the land, but maybe that's we're going full scale ahead. So,
one of the largest landowners in the country right now, Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates.
All that. Yeah, and Bill Gates was buying a lot of that land up in the Dakotas and that sort of thing. So yeah. There's a reason they're doing that, Kerry.
Absolutely. Well, Dennis, really appreciate your connecting with me again, sending me your email. So I got to talk to you once again. It's always valuable, and I always enjoy it. Hey, if you go over to Dennis's site, milleronthemoney.com, and sign up for your free subscription. And hey, if you got a question for Dennis or myself, shoot me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. While you're at the site, you can just click the link. It'll take you right to Dennis's site. And while you're there, Sign up for your free newsletter from us. And Dennis, appreciate it. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Well, thank you, Kerry. It's a pleasure to be on your show. And like I said, right now, Financial Survival Network is something that's very timely. I hope your listeners are paying attention because it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.